صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. Let's send our sincere condolences to the Imam of our time, our beloved Imam, on the Arba'een and 40th of our Master Sayyid al-Shuhada, Imam al-Hussein alayhi salatu wassalam. And we pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us forgiveness, grant us shafa'ah in intercession of Sayyid al-Shuhada alayhi salatu wassalam, and also grant us the opportunity for ziyarah, inshaAllah. Let us have this intention to make this happen, inshaAllah, for our next year. Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam is a great Imam, kind Imam, that the door of forgiveness in his shrine is wide open always. And we pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us the ziyarah, inshaAllah, of Abu Abdullah, Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. Recite a loud salawat, please. One of the issues that Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam had with the people at the time, and in fact this issue is an issue that all the Imams, and in fact all the prophets and anyone who was sent down by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to guide people, they had this issue with people. These representatives of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on this earth, they had this issue with the people. What is this? Amongst other issue is that the people, they were lacking in religious and Islamic spirituality. Islamic spirituality. And this is different to praying just salat and fasting per se as rituals. Because there is ritual in everything that we do. It is a ritual for us to pray 5 times a day. It is our ritual to fast in the month of Ramadan. It is our ritual to do matamdari, to do sinazani, to shed tears for Abu Abdullah Imam al-Hussein alayhi salatu wasalam. Everything, all these things are our rituals, and in fact we have to do it. And in fact it's very good to do it. And some of them are even wajib for us to do it. We're expected to perform these rituals. However, if these rituals becomes, as I want to say, soulless, how a prayer could lose its soul when it doesn't translate to action. When my salat just becomes a set of rituals, it's just a set of rituals, nothing more. Nothing more. It doesn't give me that feeling that I'm supposed to get from this salat and this prayer. It does not deepen my faith and iman in my religion. It does not prevent me from haram. If this is not happening, that means I'm in danger. That means I have to fix it, which we are always in danger, pretty much. It's a struggle. It's a struggle. How can I know that this salat has been accepted by my beloved Lord Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? One of the signs is I have to see till the next salat whether I committed a sin or not. If I haven't committed, that means I kept it. Many times we receive lights from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but we lose it. Think about it. During Ramadan, we fast, we feel good toward the end. We're celebrating Eid al-Fitr with way less weight in our shoulder. There are way less sins that we're carrying because inshallah Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has forgiven me. But as soon as the month of Ramadan passes, next month, it seems that there was no Ramadan. I forgot everything. Back to the same person that I was before the month of Ramadan. That means I gain lights. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given me light, but I did not, what? Keep it. I did not keep it. And that's the key. That's the key. Imam al-Hussein alayhi salatu wasalam is the ark of salvation. Anyone who enters to this ark is what? Saved, protected. Just exactly like the ark of Nuh alayhi salam. When the flood happened, anyone who entered to the ark of Nuh alayhi salam upon him, they were safe. We're drowning in this world, in the distractions and sins that we're committing, shortcomings that we have. And then Imam al-Hussein alayhi salatu wasalam comes with this beautiful ark of salvation and asks us, O servant, O Shia, O follower, O Muhammad, O Fatima, come to me, I take you. And he always welcomes us. Look at us. Every year, Muharram, despite what I did right before Muharram, Imam al-Hussein alayhi salatu wasalam is calling me. He's calling me. He's letting me in. So my job is to stay in the ark of salvation. My responsibility is to stay in this ark of salvation. So the people at the time of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, they didn't have this. They used to pray salat, but their salat were soulless. That's why they were so okay with the grandson of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam to be killed in front of them. They didn't do anything. Forget about those people that they wanted to kill. Obviously, those are the enemies. It's very hard for us to imagine that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guides them because they don't want to be guided. But everyone else who heard the news didn't do anything. There's something hugely wrong about that people, those people. Hugely wrong. So when Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam says that I'm doing this qiyam and revolution to bring life, and I should say bring back life to the revelation of my grandfather Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that means they had the Quran. They had the Quran. Quran was there. Perhaps some of them memorized the Quran, recited the Quran. But Imam al-Hussein ﷺ is saying that the Quran is dead amongst you. The physical Quran is there, but it's dead. You're praying salat, but it's a dead salat. You're fasting, but it's a dead fasting. You're going hajj, but it's a dead hajj, isn't it? Obviously, if these recitations of the Quran were alive and had soul, what's the point of Imam al-Hussein ﷺ saying that I'm bringing back the life to this revelation of my grandfather Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? So the crisis is what? The crisis is this. that Islamic spirituality is in decline. And this is our crisis today. I'm going to discuss about this tonight. And I hope it is beneficial for all of us, including parents. That what is it? That Islamic spirituality is in decline amongst some of us. What is it? That throughout the year, I don't feel to go to masjid. I don't feel to pray. I don't feel to practice. What is it that I don't feel to recite the Quran? I don't feel to do this, to do that. I feel to do all sorts of things and waste my time on social media. But when it comes to doing few minutes of things, as Quran says, that Allah bi dhikrillah tatma'innul qulub, know that in the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there is tranquility for your heart. If you want to have peace in your heart, remember your Lord. So what is it that I don't want to do it? It is in my benefit. Why I cannot do it? There are reasons for that, obviously. I'm just going to point out 5 reasons. We reflect which one of it I have. And inshallah, I don't have none of them. Any of them, inshallah. But of course, there are more reasons for this decline in Islamic spirituality, definitely. And as a believer, it's good to think why I have less motivation to do these things. It's good to think, what is it? What is the reason? Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Ya Allah, tell me, what is the reason? Guide me. Ask Imam al-Hussein alayhi salatu wasalam, guide me. What is it? I want to be a better Shia for you. Arba'in is coming on Wednesday. Recommended beautiful ziyaratul Arba'in. Ziyaratul Arba'in, inshallah. All of us recite. See what Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salatu wasalam is teaching us in this beautiful ziyarah. Asking Imam al-Hussein alayhi salatu wasalam. He's the ark of salvation, inshallah. But before I go to the 5 different reasons for this decline in Islamic spirituality, I want to point out 2 important introductions. The first is there has been a rise in modern spirituality, and this is for the youth. Modern spirituality. That they claim that without God, I can feel spiritual. And they use this spirituality for anything, pretty much. You can achieve peace and tranquility through sources other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and God. You can seek pleasure and tranquility through other means. You don't have to go to God. And if they want to be so liberal, they would say you can go to God, but you don't have to. You can find it in other places. Islam has taught us it's not possible. It's a dead end. It's not possible to achieve peace and tranquility through other means than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if any source I go, I always feel there's something lacking in my life. We talked about this last night, if you remember. The sense of fulfillment, right? One of our problems today is that we feel there is something lacking in my life. And I think I have to do that. I do this, I do that, and I think again, oh, it didn't resolve the problem. That feeling is coming back to me again. Again, I go to something else, do again, that feeling, that thought comes back. What is this? The reason is because the source of peace and tranquility is my Lord. Again, I remind you of those nights of Qad that you felt good, those nights of Ashura or Muharram that you felt good. Have you felt that now my heart is at peace? That is peace. That is tranquility. And that is coming and will come only through Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And awliyaullah, the friends of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Modern spirituality, all it seeks is individual, self. I want to be happy. I want to have peace. I want to have tranquility. I want to have pleasure, right? All in all is what? I, mine, me. That ego. On the contrary, Islamic spirituality tells you that forget about yourself. The problem is that you think about yourself. Do it for Allah only. Focus only on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you want to do something good, do it only to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that is spirituality. If you do it only sincerely to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you'll be happy. Recite the salawat, please. Recite another salawat, please. Many times I do good deeds, good things, favors. Since I'm not sincere, I always expect people to return it back to me. But if I do it only for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I'm okay. I'm happy. Rely only on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Don't rely on yourself. Rely only on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's the difference between Islamic spirituality and modern spirituality. And this is the solution. This is the solution for today's problem in many mental health issues that we have today. Prevention-wise, right? Prevention-wise. Because Islam and Islam's approach is by prevention, preventing things from happening. And if people practice Islam in a deeper level and get into spirituality, Islamic spirituality, they won't have many issues that today we have as society, as families, as individuals. That's one introduction. The second is that religion is a serious matter, and we have to remember this. It is so much serious that Imam al-Hussein ﷺ happily, in a sense that he's willing to sacrifice his life, his family members, to save and preserve this religion. This religion that you and I sometimes we take it lightly. The same Quran that we don't read much. Imam al-Hussein ﷺ sacrificed his life, his companions, his family members to preserve this book. It's that serious. For somebody like Hussein ﷺ who knows the root, in-depth understanding of Quran, it's so serious that he's okay for his child to be killed on his hand to preserve this book. Is that serious? And one of the issue that we have, we'll touch base on this, but I'm not going to go in detail when we talk later, mentioning now, is that since we don't take this religion seriously, we pick and choose always. Even when it comes to sins and wajibat, obligations and muharramat and sins. We always leave a loophole for my soul, for my nafs and shaitan to play with. Even if I seek forgiveness, I don't seek forgiveness for certain sins. Deep down, right? I'm not seeking forgiveness many times. There are cases, obviously, during the nights of Qad, perhaps, certain nights, alhamdulillah, we do, all of us. But for the most part, I don't seek forgiveness for all the sins. In a sense that, Ya Allah, I don't want to do any sin. And that's basically seeking forgiveness. That is seeking forgiveness. If I leave a loophole and certain weaknesses that I know that I have, and I always commit the same sins, and I never say to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, that, Ya Allah, I don't want to do any sin. I promise. I always leave a gap there, somewhere. And it bites me again from the same sin, the same loophole, the same gap. During the Majalis of Abu Abdullah, Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, we have to ask this, Ya Imam, I'm coming, accept me like hur. Hur. When a hur seek forgiveness, he didn't have thoughts in his mind that maybe I do that again, that weakness that I had. If he had that thought, Imam wouldn't accept him. Go do something else. Stay there. We don't need you. Maybe you say that, Maulana, you're expecting me too much. I'm not ma'soom. I'm not ma'soom either. But the fact is that even if I commit sins thousands of times, still I have to seek forgiveness in such a way that I'm so sorry, forgive me, and I'm not going to do any sins at all. That should be my decision. That should be my decision. And I have to always maintain hope. Always. Because Allah loves a servant who is seeking forgiveness. Subhanallah. He loves and He purifies. Even if I seek forgiveness thousands of times again and again and again, He is going to purify me again and again and again. That's how He does. So now, the first reason that why Islamic spirituality is in decline is weakness in faith. Why I don't feel spiritual, it goes back to my fundamental, to basic. A lot of the time, our problems lies in basics, fundamentals, foundation. Belief system. Oh, I cannot accept why Islam has asked me this, for instance, whatever it is. That question is a good question, valid question. We can have all sorts of questions. But most of those questions, the reason behind it is because there are areas in my belief system that I haven't worked on. And I have to go and search and find my answers and strengthen my iman and faith. And of course, another element to strengthening faith is practicing faith as well. If I don't practice salat much, slowly salat becomes meaningless. It's hard for me to find meaning in salat because I don't do it. It's like if I don't do charity at all, after a while doing charity becomes what? Meaningless. Why should I do charity? And everything that we do is like this. We're almost habitual being, almost. If I don't do certain things, I start losing motivation and meaning for those practices. So weakness in faith. And when I say belief, I don't mean, when I say increasing knowledge to strengthening, for strengthening faith, I don't mean to go and gain more information. Give you one example. As I said, I'll go back to the basic foundation. One example. In order for me to gain knowledge in imams and imamat, it's not enough for me to know when Imam was born, where Imam was born, where Imam was killed, how many children he had. All these informations are good. It's good to know. But these are not my belief in Imams. My belief in Imam that he's perfect. My belief in Imam that he's representing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Therefore, he has access to the vast knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. My belief is that he has authority to establish divine law on behalf of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because he is the representative of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. These are the beliefs that I have to work on. And if I work on this, and if I strengthen my belief on these faith, these belief system, I can say, if I hear something from my imam, I'm going to accept it. I'm going to do it. Right? If I know these things, and I have faith and belief, strong belief, if they ask me something that I don't like to do it, I will do it. If I know these things, if I hear that what they did to my imam on the day of Ashura in Karbala, I shed tears more. Because I know the value of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. Imam al-Hussein is not only some numbers to me, how many children he had. Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam now has a position. And as I'm practicing more, my clarity is increased. My clarity in these belief systems. So weakness in faith, and we have to work on this, especially our children. Recite the loud salawat. The second that sometimes we struggle with, some people struggle with, that impacts directly our spirituality, is earning haram. Earning haram directly impacts the way in which I feel toward Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Directly. It impacts obviously my future generation, those things. We have traditions for that. But what I'm focusing here, that how I feel about prayer, how I feel about the Masa'ib of Abu Abdullah Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, how I feel about spirituality, how I feel about my religion, my Quran. Earning haram impacts that. Seeking forgiveness, Ya Allah, I'm not going to do it again. Paying khums, paying zakat, purifying that money if there is a money that the source of it was haram. Purify that. There are ways to do that. Definitely impacts. And this is, we have traditions, we have ayats of the Quran that do not eat things that the source of it, it's haram. Drink from pure water. Halal money. Halal money is a difficult thing. We have a tradition from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam that in the ending time, in the future, there are two things becomes very difficult. One, finding a good, pious company and friend. It's very hard today. If you think, it's very hard to find a good friend. A lot of youth are struggling. I don't have a friend, if I want to be practicing believer. Yes, I know it is difficult. It is difficult to find a good friend. Because believers, they know the impact of friends. That's why they're careful to choose their friends. It's very hard to find a good friend, and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has told us. The second is earning halal money. It's very difficult. It will become very difficult. And that is why if you try earning halal, you're doing for yourself, for your family, right? To enjoy. You can make a lot of money, inshallah. Halal money. There's nothing wrong with that. And as you're working, and if we pass away during those moments and hours, our death will be considered what? Everyone knows this. What? Shahada and martyrdom. You're doing for yourself. What is it? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows that it is difficult, therefore He's giving you the reward of jihad. You're not doing jihad, but since you're struggling to earn halal money, that's jihad. That's spirituality. Every moment will be a step closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You're not even noticing it, as long as it's halal money. So earning haram is the second reason. The third reason, which I touch base, I'm going to move on quickly, is normalizing sin. No sin is normal. We have to remember that. We have to keep remembering ourselves. Even if I'm doing it, even if I'm struggling with, whatever it is, small, big, it doesn't matter. All sins are bad. There is no difference between small and big, minor or major. If I consider minor sin okay, that considering that minor sin is an okay thing, it's a great sin. We have a tradition from Amirul Mu'mineen. So there is no way around this. Normalizing sin. Because if I normalize sin, I lose that sense of spirituality. I still have a loophole and gap. Pretty much I'm telling Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is that, Ya Allah, I'm okay with all the things that you ask me to not to do, I'm not doing it, but there are few things I don't care what you're saying. That's what does it mean, right? What it means. I don't care about so and so things that you ask. Other things I'm okay. Because for me, maybe maintaining my sincerity is my struggle. Maybe I do a lot of riyah and show off to people. For you, might be something else. You're not even struggling with riyah and showing off. What is it? What is that? That is growth, right? That I know what is the problem, so I'm trying to work through that. I make mistake, doing it again and then again and again, but I get up, I seek forgiveness, and eventually, trust me, eventually I will stop. But if I leave that hole and gap in my spirituality, it's not going to stay only that sin or few sins. I'm going to be okay with all sorts of other sins around that. Because one sin, if it becomes habit, brings another sin, another shortcoming. That's the way it works. The fourth reason that sometimes we don't feel spiritual is attachment to this world. That we take this world so seriously. Attachment to this world means distractions. Attachment to this world is where I prefer certain things over my spirituality. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Detaching myself from this world doesn't mean I have to stop making more money, halal money, or being more successful. No. Detaching myself from this world, it means that I don't define myself with these things that I have. I tell you a beautiful story. There are two spiritual men, highly spiritual, decided to go to a trip together. And this man, spiritual man A, went to a spiritual man B, right? Go to his house to get this friend and start the journey. So as soon as this man starts finding his friend's house, he came to know that this friend has a mansion. And he calls himself what? Spiritual man. And he started judging his friend. Both of them were spiritual. He started judging, look at this guy, He's saying that I'm Zahid, I'm spiritual. Look at his house. He didn't say anything. After some time, they started the journey. Few hours passed. All of a sudden, this poor spiritual man, and he started screaming, "Oh my God, we have to go back. We have to go back. We cannot continue. I cannot go to this trip, to this journey. We have to go back. We have to return." His friend said, "What is happening? Why is that?" No, I lost, or I should say, I left everything that I have in your house. I forgot it. We have to go back. There is no way. That's where this rich spiritual man told his friend that I know that you judged me. When you knocked my door, you judged me that why I have mansion. And you blamed me and you questioned me in your mind. But remember, detaching yourself from this world is not trying to have less wealth, money, position. It's detaching yourself from them, whatever you have. And he tells his friend that even if they bring the news that my mansion is on fire, I don't care. I won't go back. I'm going to continue this journey. Look at you. You have only one bag. All you have is one bag. All you have. But you're losing your mind for that bag. So detaching myself is to really thinking that whatever I have and possess is not mine. So it's easy for me to pay its khums, it's easy for me to spend it, it's easy for me to give to charity, it's easy for me to provide for my family. And it has impact in our spirituality. And the last reason, obviously amongst 5 reasons, is the lack of family support, brothers and sisters. We're in a time that families, they have an obligation. We have it's not a choice anymore. It's not a choice anymore. It's an obligation to maintain a peaceful environment in our houses, in our families. And to promote spirituality in our homes. It's a must, it's an obligation. And it's our responsibility. And the rest we leave it to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for our children. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Quran says, Ya ayyuhan nas, qu anfusakum wa ahlikum nara. O people, O men, save yourself and your family members. It's not only you anymore. It's not only you. You shouldn't only think about yourself to get into heaven. I should think about my family. They have to get. My wife should get into heaven too. My children should get into heaven too. That doesn't mean I'm going to force them to do things. No, with patience. Like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. How patient He is to do tarbiyah for us, the same way. But knowing that the plan is to get to the heaven, not less than that. Because my child deserves to be in the highest level of Jannah with the Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salatu wasallam. In Dua Abu Hamza Somali, there is a section, if you search in this dua, لَعَلَّكَ, Imam alayhi salam brings perhaps around 10 different reasons that why I don't feel spiritual, why I don't feel from my salat. It's because of this. And Imam gives the reason. Maybe it's because of that. It's very beautiful. I'm not going to go into those. It's in Dua Abu Hamza Thumali from Imam Sajjad alayhi salam. Halfway through, if you search for the word of la'allaka, maybe, you will inshallah find it. Recite aloud, salat, please. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك عليك مني سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار ولا جعله الله آخر العهد مني لزيارتكم. Everyone imagine you're standing before the shrine of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam and listening to these masa'ib. السلام على الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى one more time everyone. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن وعلى أربعين of Abu Abdullah is approaching. The caravan of Ahlul Bayt, Bibi Zainab and Imam Sajjad and those remaining children and women and daughters, sisters, and the Ahlul Bayt of Abu Abdullah. They're making their way from Sham to Karbala. This caravan, the commander of this caravan is now Bibi Zainab. Perhaps Bibi Zainab is thinking and remembering the same caravan when they entered to the land of Karbala. The caravan that entered to Karbala before Ashura had Ali al-Akbar, Aba al-Fadl al-Abbas, Imam al-Hussein, and all the other Bani Hashim and companions. They kept the respect for the women, especially Bibi Zainab. Perhaps when Bibi Zainab wanted to be taken off from the camel, perhaps Abul Fadl al-Abbas approached her. Let me help you, sister. Perhaps Ali al-Akbar went to Bibi Zainab. Oh, auntie, let me help you. But this caravan is a different caravan. It has no Ali al-Akbar, no Abul Faz, no Imam al-Hussein. Bibi Zainab used to walk straight before the day of Ashura. Bibi Zainab was a young lady before Ashura.
But this caravan on Arba'in, when they arrived Karbala, no one was there to help Bibi Zainab, who is so tired. No one could know that who is Zainab. It's been 40 days. What had happened to Zainab? That her hair went gray, that she aged. After Ashura, any time that they attack to the children of Abu Abdullah, it was Bibi Zainab who thrown herself to protect and to shield the children of her brother Hussein. Anytime any child will feel thirsty and hungry, Bibi Zainab would give water, her own water, share her food to feed the children of Abu Abdullah. Imam Sajjad says, after Ashura, a few days pass, I would see my auntie Zainab Salamullah alayha praise while studying. This is due to two reasons. The first is the severity of masa'ib and trials and grief. The second, because my aunt always shared her meal to feed the children of Abu Abdullah. I was talking to someone going to the walk of Arba'in. They said it's so difficult, my feet is blistered, swollen. I remember the children of Abu Abdullah running on the same land of Karbala without any shoes. I remember the masa'ib of the children of Abu Abdullah, that on the eve of Ashura, Bibi Zainab was standing outside of the tent of Imam Sajjad. Imam was sick, the tent was on fire. Bibi Zainab is not sure whether to protect Sajjad or the children of Abu Abdullah. Bibi Zainab said, at some point I started counting again. I noticed that we're missing two girls. I started searching. I couldn't find them. Eventually I reached to a bush. I looked behind the bush. I found these two innocent souls. They're hugging one another. I tried to lift them up, but they didn't breathe anymore. ألا لعنة الله على القوم الظالمين وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون. يا حسين
حسین. نہ سر پہ بابا کا سایہ چچا عباس نہیں، نہ سر پہ بابا کا سایہ چچا عباس نہیں. سکینہ کس کو پکارے کوئی بھی پاس نہیں، کوئی بھی پاس نہیں. یا رب کوئی معصومہ زندہ میں نہ تنہا ہو، یا رب کوئی معصومہ زندہ میں نہ تنہا ہو، یا رب کوئی معصومہ دام نہ تنہا ہو. یا رب کوئی معصومہ زندہ میں نہ تنہا ہو، پابند نہ ہو آہیں، ہائے پابند نہ ہو آہیں، رونے پہ نہ پہرا ہو. یا رب کوئی معصومہ زندہ تھی جس کو نیند آتی شبیر کے سینے پر، تھی جس کو نیند آتی شبیر کے سینے پر، زندہ در زندہ ہائے زندہ در زندہ اس کے لیے قضا ہو. یا رب کوئی معصومہ زندہ میں نہ تنہا ہو. ٹکرائے نہ وہ کیوں کر زندہ کی دیواروں سے، ٹکرائے نہ وہ کیوں کر زندہ کی دیواروں سے، بھائی سے اور پھوپھی سے، ہائے بھائی سے اور پھوپھی سے، جس کو جدا کیا ہو. یا رب کوئی معصومہ زندہ میں نہ تنہا ہو. یا رب کوئی معصومہ زندان میں نجفی یاد آئی سکینہ کی، زندان میں نجفی یاد آئی سکینہ کی، دل رو رو کہہ رہا ہے، ہائے دل رو رو کہہ رہا ہے، اب نہ اجالا ہو. یا رب کوئی معصومہ زندہ میں نہ تنہا ہو. یا رب کوئی معصومہ زندہ میں نہ تنہا ہو. یا حسین یا حسین
یا حسین رٹ گئے آل محمد. Okay, hold on, that's fine. Okay. Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein. لٹ گئے آل محمد کے گھرانے والے، لٹ گئے آل محمد کے گھرانے والے، لٹ گئے آل محمد کے گھرانے والے، ترس پانی کو سر کے لٹانے والے لٹ گئے آل محمد کے گھرانے والے لٹ گئے آل محمد کے گھرانے ہو گئی شام انہیں شام کے بازاروں میں ہو گئی شام انہیں شام کے بازاروں میں ایک بیمار کو لاکھوں ہے ستانے والے لٹ گئے آل محمد کے گھرانے والے لٹ گئے آل محمد کے گھرانے والے پانی تک تو نے نہ مانگا میرے مظلوم حسین پانی تک تو نے نہ مانگا میرے مظلوم حسین تیغ خنجر سے پیاس اپنی بجھانے والے لٹ گئے آل محمد کے گھرانے والے لٹ گئے آل محمد کے گھرانے والے ترس پانی کو سر کے لٹانے والے لٹ گئے آل محمد کے گھرانے والے یا حسین یا حسین
أهل القبور السرور
زيارة. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله، السلام عليك يا ابن رسول الله، السلام عليك يا ابن أمير المؤمنين وابن سيد الوسيين، السلام عليك يا ابن فاطمة الزهراء سيدة نساء العالمين، السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين، السلام عليك وعلى أخيك بالفضل العباس يا ابن أمير المؤمنين، السلام عليك وعلى أختيك زينب وأم كلثوم وبنتك سكينة جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليك يا مولاي يا علي بن موسى الرضا الرازي بالقدر والقضاء، السلام عليك وعلى آبائك السبعة وعلى أبنائك الأربعة، السلام عليك وعلى أختك فاطمة معصومة جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليك يا مولاي يا صاحب العصر والزمان، الأمان 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 من فتن الزمان، السلام عليك يا شريك القرآن، السلام عليك يا إمام الإنس والجان، عجل الله تعالى فرجك وسهل الله تعالى مخرجك وزهورك، وجعلنا من أعوانك وأنصارك جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته.